Sometimes people who follow a certain teaching, religion, or philosophy and work on self-improvement become arrogant and look down on everyone else. Let's explore what Buddha had to say about this, but first, let's briefly understand why this is harmful. Obviously, arrogance repels those around you. You will have fewer friends or none at all. People will stop communicating with you and you will lose a lot because of this. Moreover, by spending time and energy on feelings of superiority, you miss opportunities for personal growth. Your attention will be focused on others, not on yourself. Every time your sense of superiority is challenged, you will suffer and feel anxious. This can also lead to radicalization, which often stems from an extreme sense of superiority over others. So, the first type of arrogance is contempt for non-spiritual but ethical people. If a person does not harm others and follows societal laws but is very materialistic, and all they care about are things and minor, fleeting physical or low emotional states, then that's fine. They are doing well because they are not harming others. There is no problem with them. They live their life as they please and do not bother others. There is no reason to consider them inferior, as it is their personal choice what to focus on. Everyone is free to choose for themselves. If someone wants to dedicate their entire life to consuming food and possessions and nothing else, then so be it. If we have chosen more worthy and useful pursuits for ourselves, then that is our choice. Not a reason to compare ourselves to them or think about them. It is much more productive to focus on our own affairs. Here are the words of Buddha. One who possesses 3 qualities should be known as a fool. Which 3? Bodily misconduct, verbal misconduct, and mental misconduct. You should train yourself to avoid these 3 qualities, as possessing them makes one a fool. Notice that a fool is not someone who knows little, but someone who acts foolishly, harming themselves and others. The opposite of this is wisdom, which is essentially the highest level of common sense. Treating non-spiritual people who do not harm themselves or others with contempt is a form of misconduct. By practicing this, we ourselves may become fools. Primarily, it makes sense to focus on ourselves, our words, actions, and thoughts, rather than on others. The second type of arrogance is contempt for unethical and non-spiritual people. Sometimes it is believed that Buddhist philosophy completely prohibits any criticism of behavior, words, or any discussion of others, even privately among friends. This is not the case. Evil and harm exist, and denying this would be unwise. However, it is important to note that for some people who cannot yet sense a healthy boundary, it might be beneficial to temporarily avoid any discussion of others to prevent falling into extremes which can lead to many problems. If you feel that you are at risk of becoming arrogant, it is simpler to completely avoid discussing others. But for those who can sense this boundary, studying people, observing them, and discussing examples of harmful behavior with friends can be a valuable source of information and a way to better understand how to improve our society, our lives collectively as humanity. A fool does not learn from their mistakes. The wise learn from their mistakes, and the wisest learn from the mistakes of others. Buddha himself often pointed out to his disciples those who were liars, thieves, and murderers, those who harm themselves and others, who think only of themselves. Egoism in its unhealthy form can sneak up on people under the guise of self-care. He pointed out examples of harmful behavior to observe, learn from, reflect on, and avoid. There is no encouragement of unethical behavior. It is clearly harmful. But there is a subtle distinction between a self-righteous moralist and a wise person. Buddha pointed out and emphasized that this is an incorrect and unhelpful path, immediately explaining the reasons behind it and the consequences it can lead to. The path of criticism primarily focuses on behavior, speech, and mindset, not on the people themselves. If someone is called a fool or a villain, it is immediately explained what they are doing wrong and why it is wrong. There is no arrogance or contempt in this. Here are the words of Buddha. Consider a person who says, "All those whose pleasures are associated with low, vulgar, and shameful desires are overcome by suffering, distress, and despair, and they have embarked on the wrong path." Notice why this statement would not be ideal? Because it condemns people as they are. But even Buddha recommended a more skillful approach. Instead of this, he says, "The pursuit of pleasure associated with low, vulgar, crude, shameful, and unbeneficial desires is a state overcome by suffering, distress, despair, and agitation, and this is the wrong path." In this case, he teaches only the Dharma. See the difference? It is subtle, like walking on a tightrope, but it exists. It is important to understand that a person may act unhelpfully due to their past, environment, lack of knowledge, or other influences. There are reasons for everything. Reasons are not excuses, as despite these influences, we have free will and can recognize that a path is foolish, harmful, and wrong for ourselves and others. Instead of attacking someone without explanation, we should discuss how their actions can lead to problems. After all, a fool is not inherently foolish but acts foolishly. A simple example saying, these disgusting drunks, is not skillful. On the other hand, saying excessive alcohol consumption causes many problems with health, work, and other aspects of life is skillful and more nuanced. Do you feel the difference? It is a completely different style and approach. Simply replacing "they are fools" with "their actions are foolish and harmful" changes a lot. The third type of arrogance is contempt for people who are spiritual but not sufficiently so. This type of arrogance is most commonly found among those who are considered the most educated, philosophical, disciplined, and advanced practitioners. Sometimes an arrogant, educated practitioner encounters someone who knows less, is confused about terms, or lacks supposedly common knowledge. This arrogant philosopher begins to despise, mock, and ridicule their interlocutor. This is merely an indication that, although this educated philosopher has extensive knowledge, they lack practical application. Such cases have been described numerous times in various sources. This is not a new problem, and it has existed for thousands of years. You can often see it manifest in online discussions about philosophical and spiritual topics, but there are no stupid questions, only questions asked with the wrong motivation. These are likely educated but non-practicing individuals. They can explain history in detail, talk for hours about metaphysics, but have not developed compassion or balance within themselves. No deep changes have occurred from their knowledge. It is like a person who knows everything about soccer but has never played or touched a ball. Interesting to listen to, but of no use on the field. Buddha said that sometimes foolish people study the Dharma, discussions, narratives, explanations, verses, spontaneous quotes, birth stories, miraculous events, and questions and answers. Having studied the Dharma, they do not seek to understand its meaning through wisdom and reflection, nor do they come to an agreement with it. Instead, they study the Dharma only to criticize others and win arguments. They do not experience the benefits, and their incorrect grasp leads to conflict and suffering for a long time. If you encounter such a person, simply acknowledge it. Yes, this is a person with such problems, and calmly continue focusing on your own development. The fourth type of arrogance is believing that external attributes are more important than essence. Sometimes a practitioner focuses all their attention on who meditated for how many hours, who performed how many practices, or who recited mantras thousands of times. They pay attention to external signs rather than the inner depths achieved. Buddha gave the example of a monk who more strictly followed a diet than others, an impure person who reasoned, "I eat only once a day, and these others do not follow the same practice." Thus, he elevates himself and belittles others. This is the characteristic of an impure person. But a pure person reasons. Not because a person eats only once a day does it mean that craving, anger, and delusion are eliminated. By prioritizing practice, one does not elevate oneself or belittle others. The fifth type of arrogance is reproaching others for their arrogance. This is a particularly clever twist of the mind. I am the most humble, the most restrained, the best, and you are not. Essentially, it is the same contempt for others, but turned inside out. If you see that someone is arrogant, that is their problem. Running around reproaching others is harmful and often pointless. Of course, if this is a friend with whom you have a warm, trusting relationship, saying, "I noticed your arrogance," can be helpful. It is likely possible, and if the friend is wise, they will thank you for the reminder, pay attention to it, and work on it. If this friend is very wise or an advanced practitioner, they will not be upset, as they understand that behavior, words, and thoughts exist, but do not associate themselves too closely with them. If I say something foolish and friends point it out to me, I will not feel like a fool. I will know that I said something unwise, which is normal and not scary. This is the practice of possible mistakes. It is a process, and by working and repeating it correctly, we transform ourselves. Do not be arrogant. It causes a lot of harm and has absolutely no benefit. Arrogance and contempt for others, regardless of their beliefs, lifestyle, or level of spiritual development, only cause harm. They repel those around us, hinder personal growth, and can lead to radicalization. Buddha taught that it is important to focus on ourselves, our words, actions, and thoughts, rather than judging others. Wisdom lies in understanding the reasons behind people's behavior and helping them, not elevating ourselves at their expense. The path to true development lies through self-improvement, compassion, and recognizing our own shortcomings. Only then can we achieve inner peace and harmony, which are the foundation for building healthy and strong relationships with those around us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more useful and inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.